Hello everybody, welcome to my first ever tier list where I'm going to be ranking every Pokemon in Pokemon Unite based on their roles. And what makes this tier list very special is that we get to rank Gyarados, who just got released I believe 2 days before this video was made. Now the only Pokemon I'm not going to be ranking are the EX Pokemon as they are currently banned in Master Rank. Also, I'm only going to be ranking these Pokemon based on Solo, Duo, and Trio 2. Reason being is because that's pretty much where most of the player base are, and 5 stacking is pretty much where more competitive and tournament plays are at, and I'm not as familiar at it as some of the other players. So, to start things off, we're going to go ahead and do our attackers, and the first attacker we're going to work on is Pikachu, the Pokemon that I main currently in ranked. Now, Pikachu is very interesting. It's a more of a attacker supporter type Pokemon, so it can play EXP share. It's really strong in lane, early game, but it kind of falls off a little bit in late game. It was really good in the Mewtwo Y meta, but then after that happened, now more dive Pokemon came in, and it's not as good as it used to be. I'm going to put it in a B+ there. It's very solid. It can do its job really well. But it just falls a little bit in the late game, mostly towards Ray Fight, so you gotta play more careful. Dragapult S tier, probably the best attacker right now, and for Solo, Duo, and Trio. It can just rip ejected really fast. It does a bunch of damage. It's really good right now. Teleon can do the same exact thing, rip ejected. It's really good at especially early game with Water Gun. It crits a lot, but I think it just dies too fast. Just one time, just getting stunned, and it's dead. Mew, really good. It's very versatile. Strong Pokemon. Espeon. Definitely not picked as much, but still really strong Pokemon. I'm actually going to put it in 8 here, not 8+. Balls at level 4. Gets the Unite move at 8, just like every evolution. Strong, solid choice. Gardevoir, a really strong Pokemon ever since it got a Unite buff, and now it can just spam it a lot more. This Pokemon just destroys in team fights, especially at Ray. Sylveon, A+ tier, same exact reason as Espeon. Venusaur, A tier, Solar Beam can still objective. It gets its final evolution at 7. Strong Unite. Can't go wrong with it. Gyarados is an interesting Pokemon because it mostly focuses on its basic attack script. It does have a solid win rate overall, but I feel like it just dies too quickly, and with Flash Cannon, just being able to sit put there and just try to deal with damage, it's not worth it. But I am going to respect the fact that it can rip objective fairly fast. Not as fast as Dragapult or Inteleon, but fast enough. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's still a really solid choice. Same thing with the Decidueye, just able to rip objective. Steel Ray. Glaceon, A+ tier. This Pokemon is always borderline broken. All of its movesets are currently really strong. Can't go wrong with it. Along Ninetales is a solid Pokemon. Avalanche Blizzard is really good. Dazzling Gleam, Auroville is solid. It has a really good Unite move. It evolves at 4. It can be really difficult to play against in lane. We'll put it in A tier for now. Delphox, Fire Spin, Fire Blast is really strong. And its Unite move is also really strong. Only downside is I think its early game is a little bit too weak to be consistent enough, so I'm going to put it in B+, but it's still a really good Pokemon overall, especially in late game. Cramorant, it has a really strong early game, kind of falls off late game just a tad. Its Unite moves kind of like Decidueye, where you kind of have to stay still to deal damage, but you're not dealing as much damage as Decidueye. So I'm going to put it in B+, it's still a really good Pokemon overall. Cinderace and Greninja, they're more double-based Pokemon, so you can't lane with them at all. They do focus more on their basic attacks, but the issue with them is you don't deal as much as Duraludon, Decidueye, Dragapult. So I'm gonna put them at. I'm gonna put them at B tier. They're not the worst, but they're not the greatest. I personally don't like seeing them on my team, but if you get a good one, they can really help the team a lot. Now for our defender, the first one we're gonna go through is Trevenant. He does his job exactly what he's supposed to do. He keeps the enemy team at bay, he stuns, he heals a bunch, or heals himself a bunch, he lasts a very long time in team fights. A+ tier. Gyarados can last very long in a team fight, but it doesn't do its job of keeping the whole team at bay. Like, Trevenant can keep the whole team at bay. Gyarados couldn't, but it's still a really solid Pokemon. I'm gonna put Gyarados B+. I don't think there's any bad defenders currently right now. Lapras is a really fantastic Pokemon. A tier. I think it's Nurse. Do affect it just a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna put it A+. It only affects it just a little bit. It still heals itself a good bit. It's really disgusting in early game, especially if you're running EXP share. It can take over a lane really fast. Umbreon, who I think is currently the best defender. Mean Look is disgusting. If Unite moves, it feels and just evolving all the force is really gross. Blastoise, don't have to say much about him. Probably the second best defender in the entire game. Slowbro, fantastic defender, A+. Crustle, really good defender, lasts a very long time. Unite moves disgusting. A tier. Mammo is an interesting Pokemon. It can deal a bunch of damage, and can last a long time in a fight, but it doesn't give you as much value as the other defenders, like Crustle and Umbreon, Slowbro. So I'm gonna put it in B+ tier. Same thing with Snorlax. I think these are in about the same boat, except Snorlax can just last a little bit longer in a fight. Greedent doesn't exactly follow that typical defender role of helping your team out, just helping you keep the enemy team at bay. It's more of a harasser, so like going to the jungle invade or backtapping. So I'm gonna put a C tier for now, because it can last a long time in a fight. Let's go ahead and do our Speedsters. With Speedsters in a weird spot, because there's other Pokemon that can do its role fine. But there are only a few that go over the top. So let's go ahead and do Gyarados, which I think is an A+ tier Pokemon. Its Unite moves really good. Same thing with Leafeon. Dodrio, I don't think Dodrio is as strong as Leafeon and Gyarados, but I do think it's an A tier Pokemon. Same thing with Zeraora, I don't believe is as good as them, but it is really solid. So I'm gonna put it in B+. Talonflame, I don't think it's as good as them, so B tier. And Absol and Gengar, I don't believe it's as good as Talon personally. Clefable, probably the best supporter in the game. S tier. Hoopa is really good in a big 5-stack, but solo queue is really tough with it. But in a duo and trio, I think it gives just enough value. So A tier. Eldegoss, A+. Comfey had the same issues as Hoopa, where it's not really good solo queue, but it's really good in duo and trio and 5-stacking. So A tier for it. Wiggly's really solid right now. I don't see a whole lot of flaws with it. Unite move's solid. They can deal a decent amount of damage. Not a whole lot, but they can deal some. Not only that, it can also take a bunch of damage. So A tier. Blissey, A+. We all know what it does. Mr. Mime, I think he's okay. He can deal a bunch of damage. He's very annoying to deal with. B+. Sableye, in my opinion, worst Pokemon in the game. hands down, or at least one of. Mimikyu, A tier. Blaziken's A tier. Garchomp A. Now I might be overhyping this, but Metagross and Buzzwole A plus tier. Those two Pokemon are really, really good. Especially Buzzwole, just being able to target a Pokemon, knock it out of space and the earth. Really solid. Azumarill is a weird Pokemon because it has really good early game, but it seems to me that it doesn't deal enough damage to be much of a threat for the most part. So B plus. Same thing with Aegislash, except I think it has a weaker early game, good mid game, and then kind of fall off again. Either B plus or B tier, but I'm gonna be nice and keep it a B plus. Urshifu single strike. It's fine. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's fine. So it's either going to be B or B plus. I want to say B plus. Lucario, he's good, very good early game. Kind of falls off. But I think it's not as good as single strike. I'm going to go B tier with them. Water Bear, C tier. It is just trolling at this point if you pick them. Scyther, Scizor, not even good. I don't think it's very good. Scizor just gets killed by the cursed items. It can get stunned really easily. Same thing with Scyther, except Scyther is not even an all-around in my opinion. It's more of a speedster. So it doesn't even do its role properly. T-Tar, it takes forever for this Pokemon to get going. It's really difficult to play it. C tier. Charizard needs so many buffs. The only good thing about Charizard is its Unite, and even then, it's really difficult. Same thing with Champ. Gyarados really solid, really good Unite move. Just has issues staying in fights. B tier. Same thing with Dragonite, except this Unite move is horrible. But Outwards is pretty solid. Now the last Pokemon is Gyarados. He has a really solid Unite. Bounce, Dragon Breath is really solid. But it has problems with Pokemon that can stun a lot. And it's really easy to just target it just in the middle of a fight. I'm going to put it in B plus because it does provide some value with its Unite. As you can't hit it during its Unite, so you're able to just position yourself really well to support your team with it. I kind of wish it doesn't get a buff, but if it does, it's very slim. So yeah, this is my tier list. I'm going to start from the bottom, slowly work my way up. In my opinion, I think the meta is fairly healthy. There's just not much of a difference between, you know, A and A plus or B plus to A. There's not too much of a difference besides just value. What these Pokemon can, how much value these Pokemon can give in your team. Now there is a big difference between, you know, D tier and S tier, but in between the ranks, there's not too much of a difference. Not too much. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.